Hello, everybody, whoever's out there. I'm coming on a little early so that we can be ready at 8 o'clock. I hope everybody had a great week. I don't even remember this week. We had a holiday on Monday, and the week kind of flew by. And then I went tubing yesterday. That was great. Snow tubing. Hi, how are you? Isidoros. Oh, boy, your name is so familiar to me. Did we, I know you. Sorry, I'm a little nervous because this is only week 2 of Diana the Happy Lawyer series. Oh, Joe Delbeck, hi, how are you? So great to see you guys. Let's see, I got 3 more minutes. Oh, wow. I'm glad I came on early because I can say hi to whoever's coming up. Hi, Annette. Oh, this is going to be fun. Okay, I'm calming down now. I was a little nervous before, but, all you folks are making me feel like, excited. I'm excited again. And, what's the worst that could happen? You'll laugh at me? I want you to laugh at me. Hi, Ernie. Okay, me and Ernie went snow tubing Friday. I feel younger. Oh, Cousin Kathy, so great to see you. Your comments last week really, really touched my heart. Hi, Henry. Henry's retired. I haven't even seen you in a long time. Thank goodness for Facebook. We would never see each other. Let's see. Got a few more minutes. Hi, Ernie's here. Yes, snow tubing in Camelback. So it's only about 2.5 hours away. And it's very easy. They tube all day. You better hurry, though, because I think the season's about to end. We're in February, so you could have another few weeks. But Kathy, you're in Florida. You ain't snow tubing. You're going to go regular tubing. You'll regular tube on the water, which is nice, too. You need a boat, and we just need a big hill and some tubes. But, boy, was that great. That was a lot of fun. It made me feel young again. I did not feel sore at all the next day, Ernie. I was, feeling great. I was on top of the world. So that was terrific. A lot of fun. And the rest of the weekend, a little overcast, a little cloudy, cold. Feeling that February weather out there. And of course, in a few days I'll be off to Mardi Gras, so I will be rejuvenating my spirit. You didn't feel, Ernie, no aches and pains either, I know. We took it like pros. We're beasts. That was fun. I tell you, maybe we should try and do it again. Lisa Caputo. Okay, last week I had my friend from high school that I had just hooked up with. Lisa is from elementary school. We walked to school together when we were 5 years old, and you could walk. Of course, the school was pretty much in viewing range, so our parents just have to watch out the door and watch us go to the end of the corner, and we were pretty much at school. So, hi, Bruce. Yeah, we should definitely try and go tubing again before the end of the year. Before the end of the season. So that should be fun. Hi, Joyce. Oh, more cousins. Joyce, I got Kathy G and Turco on. She's she's watching from Florida. And yeah, what a fun time. This is so exciting. I'm getting jazzed up now. I've been nervous all day because this is now a combination of off the top of my head and written and some rehearsal, and so it's a little mixed up tonight, but I'm sure I'll be fine. And what the heck. Okay, so hi, Miriam, just in time. Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the second edition of the Archives of Diana the Happy Lawyer. Thank you for coming back, and thank you for tuning in. What I'm going to do this week is I'm going to not speak for an hour and 10 minutes because that was just kind of like off the top of my head. I'm going to go for about a half an hour till about 8:30, and then I'll do a recap at 8:30. And if anybody wants to stay on and continue talking, I'm more than willing to stay on live and continue talking. So that's how we're going to proceed today. Last week I said that I would do a 5-minute recap of our last lesson, and that's what I'm going to do, and then we'll start to get to work on tonight. Hey, Edward, how are you? The Matrix did this, man. I got to tell you, the Matrix did this to me. He knows what I'm talking about. Okay, so last week the lesson was goals attaining the unattainable. And the takeaway was if you have an unattainable goal, you either have to change your goal or you have to change your definition of what an unattainable goal is. And as we discussed, most goals are attainable, but they just will require a lot of work. And so as a result of that, people don't want to do them and they just think that they can't do them. Anything from losing 20 pounds to going to Mardi Gras, even jumping out of a plane, a goal that I'm not necessarily interested in. I could attain it, but I'm just going to change my goal on that one because I'm not interested, but it is attainable. And in order to attain your seemingly unattainable goals, you have to apply discipline at the right time so that your actions become habits, and then those habitual acts become commonplace and do them unconsciously, and then you won't need the discipline anymore to do those acts. So one of the examples I gave was I don't remember what examples I gave, but me getting up in the morning, going out for a walk. If I do that every morning without thinking, I'm going to attain my goal of walking every morning by just getting up and going. Using that discipline in the morning at that time, it will become a habit. And then once walking every morning becomes a habit, then I no longer need the discipline. And my goal of walking, one, it's healthy. Two, it's just beautiful out. And it always starts my day great, and being next to the ocean is terrific. Hey, Jerry, you're a big part in this too. Jerry started me with meditation. That was about 3 years ago. So that was the lesson for last week, attaining our unattainable goals and redefining them and using discipline to turn your actions into habits. The tip that I gave for last week, which I'm going to try and give a tip every week that you can apply to your everyday life, with regard to losing weight and how you can get into better habits on that, is to shop around the outside of the food store. That food that's fresh foods and healthy organic foods are on the outside of the food store. And if you're in the aisles, you're going to be getting the processed foods, bagged, canned, packaged foods that have a lot of preservatives in them and are generally not good for you. So when you go food shopping, shop around the outside of the aisle of the store. Buy the foods that are going into your refrigerator so that when you go to your refrigerator, you're taking out healthy foods that you can eat. And also another thing I should mention, even using the words that you use, the word lose weight. If you're trying to lose weight, what happens when you lose something? When you lose your keys, you want to find them. When you lose your wallet, you want to find them. So subconsciously, when your mind is trying to lose weight, it's also going to be trying to find that weight again. So what I like to say is that I'm going to drop weight. I'm going to change my weight. So another word that can be used for something that is like discard and get rid of, not lose. Because when you lose something, you're always trying to look for it and find it again. So you want to get away from that subconscious reaction when you're losing weight to get it back. So also last week we had a couple of good comments. Miriam had a great comment. Hey, Miriam, I'm using your comment this week. She said it's sometimes she's okay when she gets started. She has to get started, and that's the difficulty. So, yes, I agree. Getting started can sometimes be the toughest thing, but once you get started, then things start to roll. Things start to go more easily. So, with regard to my goal of walking every morning, the way I get started is I keep all of my shoes, my ski pants, my jacket, everything right by the front door. So I go right to the front door and I just get everything on right there and I'm out the door. And it's funny because it's almost like I'm half awake after I've meditated, had some water. I'm heading out the door. It's still dark out. Part of me is like, oh, I don't want to go. You just put the shoes on, put your coat on. I'm out the door. And then I'm saying like, well, I'm already out here now. I've already taken 10 steps and it's beautiful. The fresh air is amazing. So, I'm already out. I already started. I'm not going to turn back now. So if you get yourself started, it will be easier to do that. A lot of people tell me that they leave their sneakers right by the bed. So as soon as they wake up in the morning, as soon as they put their feet down, they put their sneakers on and it gets them out to start walking. So that was a good tip from Miriam. Also, Norm, I don't know if Norm's on with us yet, but Norm is always great for inspiration. He he was saying that when you're tired and you're overwhelmed, take actions that go back to the fundamental reasons that you're doing the action and the fundamental pleasure or joy that it brings you. So if I'm tired and I don't really want to go walking in the morning, I just think about, yeah, but it's just so great out there. It's just, so beautiful. I'll breathe in the air. I'll be by the ocean. And it's also healthy for me. So the fundamental reasons that I'm trying to do that are the reasons that will keep you going when you're tired. Last week I said, if you get up at 4 o'clock in the morning to do something you don't want to do, you're not going to be happy about it. But if you're getting up at 4 o'clock in the morning to take a plane to Italy, you're going to be jumping out of bed and you're going to be staring out the door waiting for the cab to come because you're excited and it's something that you really want to do. So those were the two interesting comments that I remembered from last week. Oh, another comment that I had besides that, it was a little longer than maybe it could have been, was that there was a lot of repetition. So repetition is the key to learning. When you have something that's repeated over and over, that's when it's going to not only get into your conscious mind, but it's going to get into your subconscious mind. Your subconscious mind really rules most of your activity. It's really a lesson for another time, but if you think about your subconscious mind, what do we do subconsciously or unconsciously? Breathing, respiration, heartbeat, your blood flow. Everybody goes, oh yeah, those are automatic nervous system. Unconsciously, subconsciously, we do that. Well, guess what? That's life. The stuff that is the basic life is from your subconscious mind. So a lot of the basic life things that you're going to be doing are going to be coming from your subconscious mind. And repetition will get into your subconscious mind and will keep you going even when you don't realize you're going. Now, anybody that's from my generation that ever heard the song My Sharona will know what I'm talking about when repetition gets to a point where it's stuck in your head and you just can't get rid of it. I can still sing My Sharona from start to finish, and I probably haven't heard the song itself in about 30 years. So that's why I was being repetitious, and you're going to find that I am going to repeat things because the more you hear the same thing over and over, the more it's going to become more commonplace for you to remember. So one other comment that I had last week from my friend Helen was that, you're saying this is where your goal is and this is where you attain your goal, but in between things can get hard. It can be hard to do those things. So that's why I decided to continue with goals this week and talk about goals, hurdles, and girdles. So what does that mean? On your way to your goals, there are going to be challenges. And these challenges are maybe some things that you expect or maybe some things that you don't expect. And the way you meet these challenges is either that you're going to have to hurdle it by jumping over it or going around it, or you're going to have to girdle it by sucking it up and getting through it and just dealing with it. So the way we react to our challenges the way we react to the challenges that we face is how we deal with them. So if you're a person that sees a challenge coming, most people will quit. Most people will say, no, I can't do it. I can't get up in the morning. I can't try and, lose weight. I can't try and stop smoking. It's too difficult. And they automatically quit and they will never attain that goal because they see the challenge coming and it's too difficult for them. And so they just say, no, I'm not doing it. I quit. And if that's their habitual behavior, if they are the type of person that will habitually quit as soon as they become challenged, then they're probably not attaining any goals. They're not watching this. They're probably watching a rerun of something on television that they've seen. And so they are not the type of people that are going to be progressing further. They're going to be stuck in their regular job, in their regular house, and they're probably going to be complaining about how nothing good ever happens to them. And meanwhile, they are not facing the challenges. That as soon as the challenge comes up, they want to turn back and go away. Too difficult. Because what is a challenge? What is a hurdler doing? When a hurdler, I'm talking about those guys in the Olympics, that run and they jump and then they run and they jump and they run and they jump and, some of the hurdles are higher than others and they're running straight at it, full force. Now, what's going to happen? What's their fear? Their fear is that their foot gets caught on the top of that thing and they fall on their face and they trip over the hurdle and they fail. So most people running towards their challenges and attempting to hurdle them are going to be afraid of failing. That is the biggest thing. And the people that are living in complacency right now, the people that I spoke about that are not going to take the fear, they're going to go the other way, they are going to never worry about the fear, because without the fear of the challenge, they don't have the fear of failing. But also they're not happy. They're going to be complaining about their life for the most part. And you know what? They might not be complaining. They might be completely happy. They might be completely content and complacent, happy to, stay in the same job. And, that's good for them. Not everybody has to be somebody who's a hurdler or a challenger or running towards the goal. So there are some people that will live out their entire lives and be very happy just, being commonplace and complacent. I am a person that likes extraordinary things. So I am going to be on the extraordinary side, and I'm going to be looking for the challenge. That's what I do. And the thing about the challenging is that it's in the challenging times that we grow. The people that are being complacent and sitting on their couch and watching TV, watching reruns, and I'm guilty of that too. I'm not. I like Star Trek, so I could listen to Star Trek in the background all day long, and I could probably recite most of it. But so the challenges are where we grow. You grow in the challenging times. When things are easy and going smoothly, you're not challenged to grow. That's really what evolution is. Evolution is when a species is challenged in its environment, it has to adapt and grow and become a new species. So really, when you're taking on challenges and overcoming them, it's like you're evolving. So I'm big on that. I'm big on evolving into something completely different. I'm not sure what that is right now, but I know it's coming. So let's think about the obstacles a little bit and what stops us from tackling them. So when you're moving forward, those guys that are doing the hurdles at the Olympics, we know that they've been running, their whole lives and jumping, running and jumping, and they've trained for the Olympics. So we're not in the Olympics. We're just people that are trying to do something like write a book or open a business or even something, paying off your mortgage or finding a relationship, whatever it is that you're trying to get to that is you're finding challenging. Sometimes you have to get some information, get some education on it. There's a million things on YouTube, and it's impossible for me to pick out any specific challenges that people might be having because all different people have different challenges. If you want to direct message me and ask me a specific question later about this is my challenge, what do you suggest? I'm more than willing to deal with that. But what I've been doing is I've been taking on a challenge of personal development. So I'm looking at all kinds of YouTube, and this has been going on for about 7 years. I've been doing personal development. I stopped watching television after Hurricane Sandy because it was just all horrific, and I've been instead watching YouTube, reading books, listening to tapes on personal development from all kinds of people. Wayne Dyer, Bob Proctor. I went to a thing called The Matrix. It was unbelievable, life-changing experience. Best vacation you'll ever have. And in fact, after 7 years of watching and listening to personal development for all the information that I want to have and use, I pretty much could have a PhD in personal development. I looked into getting a PhD after Bob Proctor because I figured, I'm already a Juris Doctorate. How much could it take to get a PhD? And apparently it takes 3 years and $70,000. So when she said that, I was like, you got to be kidding me. I'm not spending $70,000 to get a PhD when I can just educate myself for free online. So if you have a challenge that's coming and you don't know what to do, go online. How to blank, how to fix your car, how to lose weight, how to do anything, how to get up every morning with a smile. There's lots of stuff, how to not feel guilt or anxiety or anything that's bothering you. YouTube has an amazing amount of stuff that you can use to help you to overcome the hurdle that's coming up. Also, look for support from friends and family. If you're having problem with something, get friends to back you up, get family's opinions. You know, they're all there. Most people that love you will want to help you. But you have to remember also, last week I mentioned Abraham Maslow, the psychologist, and I did not state the phrase that I love correctly. The phrase is, be independent of the good opinions of other people. You must be independent of the good opinions of other people. And as I described last week, the good opinions are the opinions of the people that matter to you, the people that care about you, family, friends that are looking out for your best interests and giving you their opinion. And their opinion may be, don't try that. You can't do that. No, that's going to be too much. It's going to be too expensive. It's going to take too much time. You're better off just stay in the job you're in. Don't bother trying to start your own business. You know, nobody in our family ever did that. You're better off, don't go to college, whatever it is. You can seek out their advice and seek out their support and be ready to listen and also be independent of their ideas. They may come up with great ideas for you. They also may come up with ideas that you're going to say, you know what? She's completely wrong. I should absolutely go back to school. I should absolutely start my own business. I should absolutely move to another state if that's what I want to do. And even just hearing the opinions of your friends and family are going to help. Also, get help from colleagues. We have something called mastermind groups from the Matrix, and it's basically people that are interested in the same thing you're interested in. For me, it's personal development. So if you know people that have done the thing that you want to do, what challenge you're taking on, reach out to that person. If they've already successfully done it, ask them how they did it. If you want to open a restaurant, go to a restaurant and speak to the owner and say, hey, how did you do this? How'd you get your act together and open a restaurant? What does it entail? What do I have to do? If that person's not willing to talk to you, go to another person. Find someone else that's done this before, and then you can learn from them. Learn from people that have done it already. The other thing that stops us a lot of times from going head on into our hurdles and challenges are emotions. We get emotional about the challenge that's coming up. And that's easy to do because if it's something that your heart is set on a goal and you're trying to get to it, the challenge in front of you can have an emotional attachment. Sometimes after the loss of a loved one or a broken relationship or loss of a job, people can get depressed or sad, and that emotion could stand in their way from getting past that, on moving on. I mean, it's difficult, but it is something that we have to do. And again, we grow in these difficult times, so you have to think about, you know, what is there anything good that I can take out of this? Losing a job can open up an opportunity for you to go start your own business. And sometimes you don't know, what the reaction is going to be to something that's a challenge. An interesting thing that happened this week was my friend who is planning on moving back to Florida is in a job, and she's not going to move for a few months, but she was having a little anxiety about it because the people are nice where she works, and then all of a sudden they had a change in the structure of the office, law office, and she's a paralegal, and they took her away from a partner and an attorney, and they reassigned her to 2 associates. So first she said to me, wow, I got reassigned in my job and it's a lesser position. So it's really going to be much easier when I leave because I'm going to be saying, okay, goodbye. You think she basically got demoted. She's the best paralegal there. And then after that, she said, but I'm really a little insulted that they would do that to me, that I'm the best one there, and that they would take me away from a partner and put me with 2 associates. And she's the only paralegal that doesn't have a partner. And I said to her, but wait a minute, you just said I'm glad that they did this because it's going to be easier to get me to my goal. But she still couldn't let go of that pride, that feeling of being insulted that they didn't treat her properly, So even though the universe was saying to her, forget it, the job's over, you can walk away from that, she still wanted to hold on a little bit because she felt that, they done her wrong, and she was a little upset about that. And I said to her, it may be that the business idea was take the best paralegal and put her with the two associates so that she can raise their game up, because then you'll be helping them and the office will be better overall. But she wasn't buying that. She wasn't buying the silver lining of the what appeared to be a demotion for her. But she did understand that it was a good thing in the end because they were making it easier for her to go. But she also still felt that last bit of, anger and a little bit of, hurt pride for not being respected in her job. So another thing that stops people, one of the emotions that stops people is anxiety. People have anxiety about failing. They have anticipatory anxiety. What they don't know what's going to happen, but they expect that it's going to be really horrible, that things are not going to work out the way they expect, and that it's going to be harder than they think. And so it makes them afraid to even start going and start doing it. So the anticipation of something bad going to happen. There's a guy that, a phrase that I really like, it's very funny. It's an old guy from the 1500s, but other people have rephrased it. Mark Twain said it too. This guy was Michel de Montaigne, and he said, "My life has been full of terrible misfortunes, most of which never happened." Now, what is the point there? We worry about stuff all the time. What if this happens? What if I try and this happens? What if I try and that happens? And you know what? Most of the stuff that you're afraid of never happens. And you let it stop you anyway. You imagine all of these calamities that are going to happen in your life, and in fact, they don't happen. And you've obstructed your forward motion by, blocking your own path. So that is one of the problems of the emotions that get in our way from proceeding towards the challenge. Now, the biggest emotion that I believe that stops us from moving forward on and tackling challenges is fear. Fear will stop you dead in your tracks. Everybody knows about this Teddy Roosevelt, right? Franklin D. Roosevelt. Sorry about that, Teddy. Whatever, they're brothers, right? Cousins, uncles. Okay. My American history is going down the tubes right now. Theodore Roosevelt. No, I did it again. Franklin D. Roosevelt. I wrote it down. 1933. The only thing we have to fear is fear itself. Now that alone is pretty compelling because fear can stop you. But I'm going to read the whole line to you because the whole line is really good. The only thing we have to fear is fear itself. The nameless, unreasoning, unjustified terror which paralyzes us, our needed efforts to convert retreat into advance. So he defines fear as nameless, unreasoning, unjustified terror which paralyzes needed efforts to convert retreat into advance. Basically, you're frozen with fear. People can be frozen with fear. I have been in that position. I was frozen with fear. I went to a Les Brown seminar on speaking, how to be a speaker. And people were going up on stage and everybody was speaking. They were all excited, grabbing the microphone. And I had an opportunity to go up on stage and speak. And I didn't go because I was afraid. I let fear paralyze me, and I just sat there while I watched everybody get up and speak. And inside my head, I'm like, go, go, go. And I'm like, no, I'm afraid. And I became like one of those scared goats. Have you seen those goats on YouTube? They're like, they fall over and they're frozen until like 5 minutes later they can get up and move around. But I became like a scared goat. And I let fear get in my way. later on, I decided, what is the lesson from that? What is the lesson from going up when I was, well, when I was afraid to go up and I didn't go? Actually, an interesting thing happened, which was I was so upset about not going up on stage that I was like I was crying. Okay, so I went outside and I was wandering around. I went all the way to the back. Was in some hotel in Florida, and I went all the way to the back corner. And guess who was sitting there? Les Brown was sitting there with one of his associates, and they were just chatting quietly in the dark. And they had told us, if you see Les alone, if he's not busy, you can speak to him. And I was like, Les. I was like, excuse me. And I went up and I spilled my guts. I told him I was so afraid I couldn't get up. I was like a scared goat. I couldn't get on stage to speak. I got all dressed up and I was all ready to do it. And then I was afraid. And you know what? He started telling me, calming me down and telling me about times when he was afraid to go up. And he told about a time where a guy that he knew was so scared that he ran to the bathroom right before he was supposed to go up, and Les is announcing him to come up on stage, and the guy's nowhere to be found because he got so scared he was in the bathroom. And you know what? It was kind of interesting, because as a result of that fear and being upset and walking outside, I ended up sitting alone with Les Brown for about 15 minutes and getting almost like a personal, like one-on-one with him. I remember it vividly. I'll remember it vividly forever. His laugh and just his how nice he was about it, to let me know that it wasn't so bad that I got scared and I ran away. So these are the things that you have to consider: fear, and not let it get in your way. And fear is going to be there. And courage is when you know that the fear is there, but you do it anyway. You're courageous when you do it in spite of the fear. Here I am again, archive episode number 2. And yeah, I was scared. And I was scared right before I went on, the fear. But I was like, forget it, just do it anyway, because what's the worst that could happen? I just saw, Ed, you said that they worry what would happen if they fail. And then you say, yeah, what would happen if you try it and you make it? What happens if you try it and you win? So for every 10 people that says, I'm not going to try it because I might fail, there's one person that tries it and wins. So you want to be on that side. You want to be on the side of the person that tries it. And, depending on what your goal is, you're going to have different obstacles, and some of them could be small, some of them could be big. There's a guy named Wallace Wattles. He wrote a book called The Science of Getting Rich, and it was the foundation for the movie The Secret. If you've seen The Secret, it's a really good primer on the law of attraction. It spoon feeds it to you in a way that it's really easy to take. It's about a dozen or so metaphysicians and philosophers talking about law of attraction, which is like attracts like. But the woman did it based on the book by Wallace Wattles called The Science of Getting Rich, written in 1910. And he has a line in there that I like, and it says, no matter how tremendous an obstruction may appear at a distance, you will find that if you go on in a certain way, it will disappear as you approach it, or that a way over, through, or around it will appear. And once I read that, it kind of stuck in my head. And the more I see my challenges, the more I realize they do look big at a distance. And as you get closer, they're not so big. And all of these mountains turn into molehills. That's an old phrase. Don't make a mountain out of a molehill. Don't do it. Just approach it. As you approach it, it's going to look more and more like a molehill. Bruce Lee has a great line. He says, be as water. Water just flows around whatever the obstacle is, effortlessly. Water will crash into an obstacle. Water will go around an obstacle. And I love that. When I'm dealing with something that's really heavy on my mind, I think of Bruce Lee, and I think, be like water and just glide around it. And when you take that attitude towards your challenges, it gives you the ability to figure out a way to get around it. And don't feed the obstacle. We talked last week about the acorn that's growing into the oak tree. When you're watering the acorn, you're watering your goal to grow higher. When you're watering your obstacles, you're making them bigger as well. So don't feed your obstacles. They're not like the acorns that you want to turn into your goal. They're like the problems. And the more you focus on them, the bigger they're going to get. So just don't feed them. Deal with them as they come up. Figure a way around them or through or over them and jump that hurdle. So the next thing is, what if you can't jump it? There are things you can't jump. There's health issues, death of somebody, bankruptcy, foreclosure, bad things. Those obstacles, you're going to have to just suck it up and go through it. And you will get to the other side. Again, Les Brown, love him. He says, if you're going through hell, don't stop. Keep going. Most people want to hang out in that little pity party and everything is horrible and terrible for them. But you have to suck it up and you got to get through it. And there will be a lesson in it. There will be a lesson in the obstacle that you have to go through. What can you learn from it? Did you do something to create it? Is there something that you could do in the future to avoid that obstacle again? Figure out what you can learn from it. And then always think about when you get through, right? We've all had obstacles and we get through them. We have all this, oh my God, how am I going to do this? And then you get to the other side and you go, oh, that wasn't so bad. That wasn't as bad as I thought it would be. So if you hear yourself saying stuff like that, that wasn't as bad as I thought it would be, that means that you've made your obstacle bigger than it needed to be. So you're going to start to realize a lot of these things aren't so bad. Pay attention when you hear yourself saying, oh, that wasn't so bad. That wasn't so bad. And then you'll start doing what I do. When I see obstacles, this is what I say. No big deal. It's no big deal. I don't care what it is, how big it is, whatever it is, I see it and I say, it's no big deal. And then that mountain turns into a molehill. And I go over it or through it or around it and I'm on the other side. And if you're up against a challenge, think outside the box. Think of a new idea. If you're doing the same thing all the time, you're not going to have a different outcome. Your outcome's going to be the same. So you have to change. You have to think about trying new things and understand that the ideas that you have in your head may be obsolete old ideas that aren't working anymore. There's a guy from The Wolf of Wall Street. Oh, I can't believe I'm not going to remember his name right now. Jordan Belfort, The Wolf of Wall Street. You may have seen the movie. He actually has a lot of great training. And I was watching him recently, and he was talking about things that are in your mind that you just believe to be true all the time. So I have a question for you. In the United States, I don't know about other countries, but in the United States, who can tell me what color is a yield sign? Who can type in, what color is a yield sign? And just think about it for a second. What color is a yield sign? I heard him say it when I was watching. What color is a yield sign? I said, yellow. Yield signs are yellow. Yield signs have been red for the past 10 years. When he said yield signs were red for the past 10 years, I was like, what? That's just not true. Yield signs are yellow. This was something that I knew. I knew this to be a fact. Well, I've been driving around and guess what? Yield signs are red. And it is a shocker that this whole time I'm thinking yield signs are yellow. And I have to tell you that if you have ideas in your head that you're sure of, you think that this is always the way it's going to be, it's always the way it has been, and so it's always going to be that way in the future, you have to think outside the box and you have to be willing to change. Just like I have to be willing to understand that yield signs are red. You have to be willing to change. You have to be willing to try something new and get to the other side of the challenge. Now, I remember when I was young and I would be upset about something that was, yellow, right, Kathy? No, they're red. Yield signs are red. Everybody's going to drive tomorrow and they're going to go, don't crash, okay? Yield signs are red in the United States. I don't know about any other countries. Yield signs are red. I was in 3 states yesterday, New York, Pennsylvania, and New Jersey, and they were all red. So when I was younger and I used to complain, and it's going to be how you were brought up, how you react to challenges and how easy it is to overcome a challenge. And when I used to complain to my mother, there was a song in the 60s by Lynn Anderson. And it went like this. Here it comes. I beg your pardon. I never promised you a rose garden. Along with the sunshine, there's gotta be a little rain sometimes. So that was Lynn Anderson in the 1960s and Diana Jean Turco in 2019. So my mother used to say this to me all the time whenever I'd be complaining about something I couldn't do or whatever, and she'd just go, I beg your pardon. I never promised you a rose garden. And we used to sing it together, and I started laughing. So I still say it to myself if I see a challenge and I just think, there's got to be a little rain sometimes. And the rain is what helps the flowers grow. There's even in the challenging times, that challenge is going to result in growth for the future for you. So remember that. My brother Stephen was on this morning, and he talks about our childhood. It's very funny. Stevie GB, he's a comic on Long Island, and he has a Facebook page. Stevie GB, very funny. And he was saying that he just remembers our parents, and when he complained, they would go, deal with it. My mother would say, deal with it. And he told a story about how she would feed us liver, and that he didn't like the liver, and he would say, oh, Mom, I don't like this. And she'd go, yeah, well, deal with it. And I guess he ate the liver. Now, the funny thing is, I remember liking liver. So if we were given liver, if it was something that was not tasty and my mother was saying, deal with it, my way of dealing with it was to enjoy it. I enjoyed it. If it was a challenge, I was enjoying it. My brother was not. He was fighting it. So it's kind of funny that we could be in the same situation and he could be fighting something and I am enjoying it. And I'm sure when we were kids and I was loving eating liver, he was probably thinking, look at this poor kid. She doesn't even know what she's being fed. She's just gobbling it up and, and thinking it's great. And she's missing the whole point that this tastes disgusting. But I do like liver. I did like liver. So I'm happy about that. Now, so those are the ways to get over your challenges. Either hurdle it by going over or around it, or girdle it by sucking it up and just dealing with it and getting through to the other side. It's not going to be as bad as you think. So the takeaways for today are to do that. Figure out how to either get around it or suck it up. Find out new ways to deal with your obstacles. Reach out to friends or family. Go to somebody that's already dealt with this obstacle before and ask them how to do it. And try new things. Think outside the box. Yield signs are red. They're not yellow. And be open to the fact that there is change going on. And also, finally, believe in yourself. Believe that you can do it. Even if you think that there's other people that say that you can't do it. Believe in yourself. Just say, you know what, I think I can do it. I'm going to try it. And what's the worst thing that's going to happen? You're going to trip over the hurdle and you're going to fall on your face. But you'll learn something from it. And you'll go back and you'll do it again. And you'll get over the hurdle the next time. And the more obstacles you conquer, the stronger you're going to get in your belief in yourself that you can conquer these obstacles and go over them and get to the other side and one step closer to your goal. Because there's chances that there's going to be another obstacle after that. So the hurdles may come, few and far between, or they may come back to back. But if you believe in yourself and you get help and advice that you need and just jump over it or around it, be like water, or go right through it and deal with it, you're going to get to the other side where your goal is. So that is my lesson for tonight. Next week I will be in Mardi Gras, so I will be filming live from New Orleans Mardi Gras. It should be exciting, and I'm going to be opening a business page, the Happy Lawyer business page. So I'm going to try and go from that, but I'll let you guys know where I'm coming from, literally and figuratively, next week. And I really appreciate everybody tuning in. I feel good. And I love you all, and love is all you need. So I thank you so much for watching, and have a great week. Bye. Bye, everybody. See, I just want to see what Kathy, you have my childhood in your mind too. You covered it with breadcrumbs. Yeah, the liver, right? You covered the liver with breadcrumbs and said it was veal cutlets. That's how you got your kids to eat liver? That's how you got yourself to eat liver? Good night, Miriam. Thank you so much for joining. I really appreciate it. And I'm going to have to go back and look at the... Hey, Ginny. It's so amazing. I have people coming at me from when I was a kid. I'm sure, Ginny, you probably remember some things that I did and that Lisa did when we were children that would fit into this category. Things that we that we had to overcome as children, walking to school. I mean, it was back then. Things were so easy. Hey, Barry, thanks so much. I really appreciate your comments, and I feel good. And how long did I go? 42 minutes. So that's not bad. I kept it pretty close to a half an hour. That's what I'm trying to do. In the future, I may... Ginny, send me some things that I did as a kid so I can incorporate them into one of my lessons here, because that's what it's all about. So what I think in the future I may be doing is a 8 o'clock and then a recap at 8:30. But right now I'm exhausted because I've been working on this. Last week I just kind of winged it off the top of my head because I never did it before and I just went for it. But this week, of course, with the week anticipation, I didn't want to stumble and trip over the hurdle and fall on my face. So I did the preparation that I needed to do. And I feel pretty good about it. So thank you so much, everybody, for listening. And next week, I think I have an idea already of what the lesson's going to be about. And it'll be a shorter lesson. And then I think I'm just going to walk you all around the Mardi Gras so you can get a little bit of that live action, because there's nothing like the New Orleans Mardi Gras to inspire. And that'll be a lot of fun. So thank you so much. If anybody wants to direct message me for a personal question or whatever, or on my open Facebook page, whatever it is, I'm more than willing to help or coach or answer any questions or deal with any challenges that you might be dealing with now, because even if I can just point you in another direction, you might be able to see things in a different light, and then you might be able to come up with different ideas on how to overcome those challenges and get to your goals, whatever your goals are. So thank you so much. And again, I love you all, and love is all you need. Good night.